Lecture 6. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Virtual University's course on Business and Technical Communication. In Lecture 5, we looked at how to define objectives, we looked at the purpose of documents, and we looked at the different types of purposes which could be explicit and implicit. In this lecture, we will continue our discussion on defining objectives and also talk about appropriateness. You will learn to identify the tasks that will help your readers perform while they read. You will also we will also talk about how you want to change the readers' attitudes. All readers have attitudes towards you and towards what they are reading, and we will talk about how you can help your readers change their attitude. You will also learn about your readers' important characteristics, in addition to learning about how to find out who your readers are and what you need to keep in mind when you know who your readers are. You'll also learn to fill in a sample worksheet that should be kept in mind when defining objectives. We'll have a worksheet which you will keep in mind when you are defining your objectives, and based on that worksheet you will be answering a lot of questions that will help you when you are actually doing your writing, and when we have a look at that, we'll discuss this further. You'll also learn the importance of appropriateness in business and technical communication. Now, talking about identifying the tasks that will help your readers perform well while they read. When you identify the tasks, you are performing the enabling element of purpose. In the previous lecture, we talked of purpose, and we talked of the fact that depending on whatever purpose the readers are reading for, you have to enable them to perform that purpose better and to get for them to reach their goal better. You are the one, as the writer, who has to enable them, who has to help them fulfill the tasks of finding information, locating information, and understanding the information better. At a general level, all tasks are the same for all readers. All readers will be looking for information and understanding it, but on specific levels there will be different strategies that they will be using. As we said, they perform the tasks of locating, understanding, and using information in many ways depending on the situation. Obviously, based on whatever situation they want to use the information for, that is how they will use it. हर रीडर जो होता है वो मुख्तलिफ तरीक़ों से इंफॉर्मेशन को यूज़ करता है और मुख्तलिफ तरीक़ों से ही उस इंफॉर्मेशन को एक टेक्स्ट में से ढूंढता भी है, और इसलिए आपको एक लिखने वाले के तौर पे ये कोशिश करनी है कि आप अपने रीडर के लिए को मदद करें कि वो उस इंफॉर्मेशन को ढूंढ सके और उसको बेहतर तौर पे इस्तेमाल कर सके. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, Ali's progress report would be read from front to back by the vice presidents. Now, I hope you all remember Ali from a previous lecture. Ali is the person who was asked by his superiors in Adamsoft to write a progress report, and because the vice presidents of the company had to read wanted to know about his progress. As we discussed earlier, not only do readers vary, but different readers' tasks are helped by different writing strategies. So now, for example, Ali would be helped by different writing strategies as opposed to when his boss is writing Ali's progress report. जब Ali अपनी progress report लिखेंगे तो Ali कुछ मुख्तलिफ strategies use करेंगे, और जब Ali के boss Ali के progress report लिखेंगे तो वो कुछ मुख्तलिफ strategies use करेंगे. इसी तरह जब Ali के vice presidents Ali की progress report के ऊपर अपने comments देंगे तो वो मुख्तलिफ तरीके से लिखेंगे. When writing, part of your aim is to enable your readers to perform their reading tasks quickly and efficiently. ना सिर्फ ये कि वो समझ सकें इन्फॉर्मेशन को, लेकिन ये भी कि वो जो जिस तरह वो इन्फॉर्मेशन ढूंढ रहे हैं वो तेज से तेज तरीके से हो सके, क्विकली एंड एफिशिएंटली, बगैर कोई वक्त ज़ाया किए हुए वो ढूंढ सकें अपनी इन्फॉर्मेशन. Let's consider the example of Aisha, an engineer who is employed by a steel mill. Her task is to study two types of furnaces and to present a proposal to help the upper management decide which furnace to buy. She has two options to present the immense amount of information she has gathered. Now, obviously, when she has to help her management decide between two furnaces, she needs a lot of information about each type of furnace. जब तक दोनों किस्म के फर्नेसेस के बारे में मुकम्मल इंफॉर्मेशन आयशा के पास नहीं होगी, वो अपने बॉसेस को, अपनी कंपनी को कोई प्रपोजल नहीं दे सकती, कोई रिकमेंडेशन नहीं दे सकती कि वो कौन सा फर्नेस अपनी स्टील मिल के लिए खरीदें. Now she can use two different types of patterns in which to present her information. जाहिर है इंफॉर्मेशन उनको उनने फर्नेस ए के बारे में भी बहुत इंफॉर्मेशन कलेक्ट की और दूसरे फर्नेस बी के बारे में भी बहुत इंफॉर्मेशन कलेक्ट की होगी। अब उनने ये चूज करना है कि वो अपनी सारी इंफॉर्मेशन किस तरह बेहतर प्रेजेंट कर सकें कि उनके जो बॉस हैं और उनके जो कॉलीग्स हैं उनको क्लियर भी हो कि कौन सी फर्नेस बेहतर है उनके मकसद के लिए। तो इसलिए वो दो किस्म के पैटर्न इस्तेमाल कर सकती हैं, या डिवाइडेड पैटर्न जिसमें पहले वो फर्नेस ए के बारे में सारे पॉइंट्स लिखें और फिर फर्नेस बी के बारे में सारे पॉइंट्स लिखें। She could talk about the cost, the efficiency, construction, time, air pollution of furnace A, and the same 5 points, cost, efficiency, construction, time, and air pollution of furnace B. So that this way she would be using a divided pattern in blocks. She could have one block for furnace A and then one block of information for furnace B. On the other hand, she can use an alternating pattern. She can look at the different elements that we talked about, cost, efficiency, construction, time, and air pollution, and talk about each in terms of furnace A and furnace B separately. For example, she could have one paragraph or one section on cost and talk about the cost of furnace A and the cost of furnace B. Similarly, she could take one section on efficiency and talk about the efficiency of furnace A, furnace B, and so on. This is called an alternating pattern, where the information is being alternated between the two main topics given. Based on the dividing pattern is where the information is all chunked together for one topic and then all chunked together for the other topic. तो इसलिए जिस तरह आपने देखा कि डिवाइडिंग पैटर्न में एक टॉपिक की इंफॉर्मेशन एक साथ होगी और फिर दूसरे टॉपिक का हम जिक्र शुरू करेंगे, जबकि ऑल्टरनेटिंग पैटर्न में दोनों जो टॉपिक्स हैं या दोनों जो एरियाज जिनकी आप बात कर रहे हैं या दोनों सब्जेक्ट्स जिनकी आप बात कर रहे हैं उनके बारे में आप साथ साथ बात करेंगे, डिफरेंट पॉइंट्स लेके उनको आप साथ साथ डिस्कस करेंगे। As the information in both the patterns is exactly the same, Aisha cannot decide for herself which furnace to choose, but she has produced the results of her study in a manner so that it is easy for her superiors to judge the best path. अब information दोनों में सारे वही पॉइंट्स देखे गए हैं, कॉस्ट, एफिशिएंसी, एयर पोल्यूशन एक्सेट्रा। आयशा ने डिसाइड ये नहीं करना है कि कौन सी फर्नेस खरीदी जाए, लेकिन आयशा ने जो इन्फॉर्मेशन है वो इस तरह प्रेजेंट करनी है कि उनके जो सुपीरियर्स हैं उनको ये डिसीजन लेने में आसानी हो। तो इसलिए जो भी इंफॉर्मेशन है वो इतनी क्लैरिटी से उनने प्रेजेंट करनी है, इतने क्लियर तरीके से प्रेजेंट करनी है कि उनके बॉसेस को कोई फैसला करने में मुश्किल ना हो। Now she has to decide the pattern. Which pattern should she choose? Should she choose the pattern which is easier to write, or should she choose a pattern which is easier to read? Now you have to understand that the ease of writing, choosing a pattern which is easy to write is a writer centered consideration. इस पैटर्न में जो भी अगर एक लिखने वाला ये सोचे कि ये चीज लिखना आसान है तो आप अपने आप को मद्देनजर रख रहे हैं, आप अपने रीडर को मद्देनजर नहीं रख रहे हैं, इसलिए आपका जो वो पैटर्न होगा वो राइटर सेंटर होगा, रीडर सेंटर्ड नहीं होगा। और शुड शी चूज अ पैटर्न विच इज इजियर टू रीड so that the readers can find it easier. If she wants to keep the readers in mind, then she should choose an alternating pattern because that is a more reader centered approach. जिस तरह हमने देखा था alternating pattern में एक एक नुक्ता लेके दोनों सब्जेक्ट्स के बारे में कॉस्ट को लेके फर्नेस ए फर्नेस बी को कंपेयर किया गया, फिर एफिशिएंसी को लेके फर्नेस बी और फर्नेस ए को कंपेयर किया गया। तो ये रीडर के लिए ज्यादा आसान है समझना, जबकि जो डिवाइडेड पैटर्न था वो इस एग्जाम्पल में राइटर के लिए लिखना ज्यादा आसान था। फर्नेस ए की सारी इंफॉर्मेशन मिली, उसको एक जगह लिख दिया एक सेक्शन में, फर्नेस बी की सारी इंफॉर्मेशन को एक सेक्शन में लिख दिया, लेकिन उसको अलग अलग करके कंपेयर करना जो है वो लिखना मुश्किल है, लेकिन पढ़ने वाले के लिए ज्यादा आसान है। तो इसलिए अगर रीडर सेंटर्ड अप्रोच है और रीडर को इनेबल करना है तो फिर बेहतर है कि इस केस में आयशा alternating pattern इस्तेमाल करें। She knows that her readers will surely want to compare the two furnaces in detail in terms of various criteria that they consider important. जाहिर है जब यहाँ मकसद comparison का है तो फिर alternating pattern में जब लिखेंगे तो उनके readers के लिए जाहिर है आसान होगा चूज करना कि कौन सा furnace खरीदा जाए। You also, when you are making these considerations, for example, of which pattern to use, the consideration of how you will enable your readers to perform their tasks better, you need to identify the questions your readers will ask. जब आपका एक रीडर कुछ पढ़ेगा तो उसके भी दिमाग में बहुत सारे सवाल उठेंगे और आपको एज ए राइटर ये सोचना है कि आपके पढ़ने वाले के दिमाग में क्या क्या सवाल उठ सकते हैं। ये बहुत आसान हर वक्त नहीं होता, क्योंकि जाहिर है आपको नहीं पता कि आपका पढ़ने वाला क्या सोचेगा, क्या सोच रहा है, लेकिन बहुत बार अगर आप थोड़ा सा उस पर सोचें तो आप अपने आप को पढ़ने वाले की जगह पे रखें तो बहुत से सवाल आपको खुद ही क्लियर हो जाएंगे कि आपके सवाल कौन कौन से पूछे जा सकते हैं आपके टेक्स्ट में से। ऑल्सो यू नीड टू आइडेंटिफाई द स्ट्रैटेजी टू आंसर ऑल दीज क्वेश्चंस। जो भी सवाल दिमाग में उठेंगे पढ़ने वाले के, अब आपने राइटर के तौर पे ये सोचना है कि इन सवालों को किस तरह बेहतरीन तरीके से इनका जवाब टेक्स्ट के अंदर मिले। फाइनली यू नीड टू आइडेंटिफाई द वेज इन विच योर रीडर्स विल यूज योर आंसर्स। अब आपके रीडर्स को जो भी इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्स्ट में से मिलेगी अपने सवालात के जवाब के तौर पे, वो रीडर्स उस इंफॉर्मेशन को किस तरह बेहतर तरीके से यूज करेंगे। ये भी आपको सोचना है कि आखिर ये जो हम इंफॉर्मेशन दे रहे हैं ये किस लिए यूज होगी, किस तरह यूज होगी, किस तरह इस टेक्स्ट में से ढूंढी जाएगी और आगे किस तरह अप्लाई होगी। Also, we talked about altering your readers' attitudes. Now you need to consider how you want your communication to alter your readers' attitudes. जो भी आपके पढ़ने वालों का नुक्ता नज़र है, आप अपनी कम्युनिकेशन को, अपने टेक्स्ट को किस तरह बेहतर इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं कि उनका नुक्ता नज़र जो है वो आपसे मैच करे। You will need to begin by identifying the attitudes you want to alter. सबसे पहले तो आपको ये पता करना है कि कौन कौन से नुक्ते हैं जिनको आपने चेंज करना है, कौन कौन से नज़रिए हैं अपने पढ़ने वालों के जो आपने चेंज करने हैं। कभी ये होगा कि उनका कोई नज़रिया होगा जिसको आप मज़ीद रीइंफोर्स करना चाहते हैं। यू माइट वांट टू रीइंफोर्स एन एग्जिस्टिंग एटीट्यूड। फॉर एग्जांपल, यू माइट एम योर प्रेजेंटेशन सो द रीडर्स फील मोर फेवरेबली इम्प्रेस्ड बाय योर क्वालिफिकेशंस। अब अगर आप अपना एक फॉर एग्जांपल रेज्यूमे आप बना रहे हैं और आपके, लेकिन जिनने आपका रेज्यूमे पढ़ना है वो आपको जानते हैं लेकिन उनको बहुत डिटेल आपके बारे में नहीं पता, आपका इंप्रेशन उन पे अच्छा है लेकिन आप अपना रेज्यूमे अब इस तरह बनाना चाह रहे हैं कि आपका इंप्रेशन उन पे मजीद अच्छा पड़े। तो अब आप एक जो एग्जिस्टिंग एटीट्यूड है कि आपका इंप्रेशन पढ़ने वाले के ऊपर अच्छा तो है, आप उस एटीट्यूड को मजीद बेहतर करना चाह रहे हैं, मजीद रीइंफोर्स करना चाह रहे हैं। At other times, you might want to try to reverse an attitude you want your readers to abandon. आपके रीडर्स का एक एटीट्यूड है जो आप चाह रहे हैं कि वो छोड़ दें, एक उनका नुक्ता नज़र है, किसी चीज़ पे उनका एक नज़रिया है जो आप चाह रहे हैं कि वो रद्द कर दें, तो उसमें आप उनका एटीट्यूड रिवर्स करना चाह रहे हैं, जो था उससे मुख्तलिफ करना चाह रहे हैं। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, यू माइट वॉन्ट टू परसुएड देम टू लाइक समथिंग दैट दे डोंट लाइक। अगर हम आयशा का ही केस लें जो स्टील मिल में काम करती थी, हो सकता है कि उनके सुपीरियर एक फर्नेस लेना चाह रहे हैं और आयशा का ख्याल है कि दूसरा फर्नेस बेहतर है, तो फिर वो पहले फर्नेस और दूसरे फर्नेस दोनों के बारे में इंफॉर्मेशन जमा करेंगी, लेकिन जब वो उसको प्रेजेंट करेंगी तो वो ये सोच के प्रेजेंट करेंगी, इस तरह इंफॉर्मेशन लिखेंगी कि जो फर्नेस उनको बेहतर लग रहा है वो उनके जो रीडर्स हैं वो उसकी तरफ माइल हो जाए। यू माइट नीड टू परसुएड देम दैट अ प्रॉब्लम एग्जिस्ट्स वेयर दे फील दैट एवरीथिंग इज फाइन। बहुत बार ये हो सकता है कि आपके जो सुपीरियर्स हैं उनको आपकी कंपनी के अंदर कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं नज़र आ रही या नहीं उनको समझ आई या पता चली और आप उनको दिखाना चाह रहे हैं कि यहाँ ये प्रॉब्लम है, तो उसमें आपको फिर से उनका एटीट्यूड चेंज करना पड़ेगा। तो आपको उस हिसाब से उनको परसुएड और कन्विंस करना पड़ेगा ताकि वो अपना इस चीज़ के बारे में नुक्ता नज़र चेंज करें कि कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है जबकि आपको एक प्रॉब्लम नज़र आ रही है। Finally, at times you might need to shape your readers' attitudes about a subject they haven't thought about seriously. बहुत बार ये भी हो सकता है कि आपके जो रीडर्स हैं उनने एक चीज़ है, एक नुक्ता है जिसके बारे में कोई ख़ास सोचा नहीं है, उनका बहुत उसके बारे में कोई एक स्पेसिफिक एटीट्यूड है ही नहीं, तो आपको तब भी ये होगा कि आपको उनके एटीट्यूड को शेप करना होगा, आपको उनका एटीट्यूड बनाना होगा किसी चीज़ के बारे में। Now, how can you change your readers' attitudes? Suppose your reader is a manager who wants to decide whether or not to purchase a certain piece of equipment. अगर इस वक्त फर्ज करें ये सिचुएशन है कि आपके जो पढ़ने वाले हैं वो एक आपके मैनेजर हैं जिनने ये फैसला करना है कि एक पर्टिकुलर इक्विपमेंट है या कोई पुर्जा है या मशीनरी है वो उन्हें खरीदनी है या नहीं खरीदनी, और आपका काम यह है कि आपने उनके एटीट्यूड को चेंज करना है या मोल्ड करना है, या उनका एटीट्यूड इस चीज़ के बारे में आपने बनाना इस तरह है कि वो इस तरह की मशीनरी खरीद, वो मशीनरी या वो पुर्जा खरीदें जो आप समझ रहे हैं कि बेहतर है। तो आपका एक्शन ये होगा that you will write a memo or a report or a proposal so that they can then base their actions on that. So for example, you write a memo evaluating the equipment in terms of the benefits it will bring the company. So in your memo, you will obviously look at all the details of that equipment and outline whatever benefits it will bring the company. Now the pattern that you will use to write that memo will be determined by who your audience is, by the purpose, and as we talked about earlier. And obviously also very primarily it will be dominated by the action that you want your manager to take, how you want things to be, how you want the attitude to be changed. So, and that is what the end result will be. If your memo is effective, if you have written it well and you have been able to persuade your manager, then the way that the things will be at the end of the manager reading it will be that the manager decides to buy the equipment and feels confident that he has made the right decision. Now, if based on your memo, the manager buys the equipment, that means that you have been successful in persuading the manager, and that in turn means that your writing has been a good piece of writing. If however your manager rejects your proposal, then it means that your writing has not been persuasive enough and you have not been able to put forth the points that you wanted to in a proper manner. जाहिर है अगर आपने एक चीज के बेनिफिट्स लिखे हैं और आप सचमुच यकीन से समझ रहे हैं कि ये चीज कंपनी के लिए बेहतर है, लेकिन आपके लिखने के बावजूद आपके मैनेजर को नहीं लगा कि वो जो नुक्ते आपने लिखे हैं वो कंपनी के लिए फायदे मुफीद हैं, तो इसका ये मतलब नहीं है कि आपका मैनेजर गलत है। इसका ये मतलब है कि शायद जो आपने लिखा आप उसमें कन्वे नहीं कर पाए कि इस इक्विपमेंट के फायदे कितने हो सकते हैं कंपनी को। तो आपके जो लिखने का अंदाज था उसमें आपको परसुएसिव एलिमेंट किसी ना किसी तरह और ऐड करना था। Let's have a look at some other examples. The way things are now, in this example, could be that your reader is a director of a plant that is using an outdated process. The director feels that the process is fine. Now you will write a report on the problems with the current process and all the ways that these problems can be overcome by using various new processes, because that is what you sincerely feel. If your writing is successful, if you have been successful in what you've written, then the result will be that things will turn out the way you want them to be, and that will be that after reading your report, the plant director will feel that the processes being used now are faulty, and a new one or some new processes are necessary, and they will then be adopted. So अगर आप कोई चेंज लाना चाह रहे हैं अपने डायरेक्टर के ख्यालात में, या उसको कुछ एक चीज़ दिखाना चाह रहे हैं जो आपकी कंपनी में हो रही है, तो उसके लिए भी आपको एक मेमो या कोई रिपोर्ट लिखनी पड़ेगी, और उसके नतीजे में अगर आपके रिकमेंडेशंस पे, आपके प्रपोजल्स पे अमल होता है, तो इसका मतलब कि आपने जो राइटिंग की वो अच्छी और मुफीद राइटिंग थी। ज़रूरी नहीं है कि सारी बिजनेस या टेक्निकल कम्युनिकेशन जो है वो आपके सुपीरियर्स के लिए ही हो। बहुत सी ऐसी कम्युनिकेशन होगी जो आपसे जूनियर लोग पढ़ेंगे और उनके आपको एटीट्यूड्स को चेंज या ऑल्टर या रिवर्स करना होगा या मोल्ड करना होगा, शेप करना होगा। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, योर रीडर्स कुड बी, if you're a banker, could be bank clerks who will be using the computer system which is new, and they're afraid of the new system and are therefore reluctant to use it. There has been a new system installed, but the people working in the bank are not comfortable using it because it's completely new to them. बहुत से लोग नए सिस्टम से खास तौर पे कंप्यूटराइज चीज़ों से डरते हैं क्योंकि उनको उसकी नॉलेज नहीं होती। तो ये भी हो सकता है कि आप सीनियर हैं और आपके जूनियर्स जो हैं उनको आपने किसी ना किसी तरह सिखाना है, समझाना है कि वो उस नए कंप्यूटर सिस्टम को किस तरह इस्तेमाल करें। सो इन दिस सिचुएशन your action will be that you could write a procedure manual which shows them how to use the new system, and the action as a result of your writing Could be that the bank clerks now feel confident in using the new computer system, and that means that you have been successful. They are relaxed, they are self-confident, and they have learned how to use the system properly, and wherever they need to, they can still refer back to the procedure manual to find out more about the system. तो इस तरीके से अगर आपको कोई आपके जूनियर्स या सुपीरियर्स हैं जिनका किसी चीज़ के बारे में आपने एटीट्यूड चेंज करना है, वो आप इस तरह भी कर सकते हैं. अब इस एग्जाम्पल में जो बैंक क्लर्क्स थे वो डर रहे थे कंप्यूटर सिस्टम से. आपने प्रोसीजर मैनुअल लिखा और उसके बाद वो उससे डरना, उनका डर निकल गया, खौफ उस कंप्यूटर सिस्टम से निकल गया और वो आराम से उसको यूज कर सकते हैं एफिशिएंटली एंड क्विकली. Now, how will you identify and learn about your reader's important characteristics? You might want to think of your reader in terms of the following 3 roles. They could be decision makers, advisors or implementers. जो भी आपके रीडर्स हैं एक कंपनी में, या तो ये हैं कि वो जो आप लिखेंगे उसके ऊपर वो खुद डिसीजन लेंगे, या ये हो सकता है कि वो खुद डिसीजन नहीं लेंगे, सिर्फ डिसीजन नहीं लेंगे, वो उस चीज़ को इम्प्लीमेंट करेंगे. डिसीजन किसी और ने लिया लेकिन उनने इम्प्लीमेंट किया. या ये हो सकता है कि वो खाली एडवाइजर्स हैं, वो डिसीजन भी नहीं लेंगे, उसको इम्प्लीमेंट भी खुद नहीं करेंगे, खुद जाती तौर पे वो काम नहीं करेंगे जो आप बता रहे हैं, लेकिन वो किसी को एडवाइस करेंगे, किसी को मशवरा देंगे कि ये काम बेहतर है, मौसर है, ये किया जाए. तो इसलिए डिसीजन मेकर्स, एडवाइजर्स, इम्प्लीमेंटर्स. And you need to learn that each has different characteristics. Decision makers will have different characteristics from advisors and implementers and so on. Now, decision makers, their role is to say how the organization or some part of the organization will act when confronted with a particular situation. Generally, decision makers जो हैं ये कंपनी के सीनियर लोग होंगे जो कि ये फैसला करेंगे कि जब कंपनी में एक सिचुएशन है या कुछ कंपनी के एक डिवीजन में, एक हिस्से में एक सिचुएशन अगर कोई है तो उसमें उस पर किस तरह रद्द-ए-अमल किया जाए. एडवाइजर्स जो हैं वो सिर्फ इंफॉर्मेशन देंगे और एडवाइस देंगे डिसीजन मेकर्स को. दे विल नॉट मेक द डिसीजन, दे विल बी गिविंग एडवाइस. A lot of the time these advisors could be consultants or they could be other people within the company in senior positions who are not directly taking the decision but giving advice on what decision to take and also giving information so that it is easier to take a decision. The third type of readers would be implementers who will actually carry out the decisions that have been made. जो डिसीजन मेकर्स ने डिसीजंस ओके कर दी, उनको इम्प्लीमेंट अब इम्प्लीमेंटर्स करेंगे. अब वो डिसीजंस ये भी बहुत बार हो सकता है कि आपने जो चीज़ पढ़ी वो तीनों टाइप के रीडर्स ने पढ़ी हो. डिसीजन मेकर्स ने पढ़ी हो, उसके बाद उनने एडवाइजर्स को दिखाई हो कि हमारे पास ये रिपोर्ट आई है, ये मेमो आया है, आपका क्या ख्याल है. एडवाइजर्स ने पढ़ी हो, उनने अपना ख्याल बताया, अपना नज़रिया बताया और फिर उसके मुताबिक जो भी डिसीजन लिया गया हो वो इम्प्लीमेंटर्स तक गया हो और आपने जो चीज़ लिखी वो भी इम्प्लीमेंटर्स को दी गई हो कि देखें ये रिपोर्ट आई है, इसके मुताबिक आपने इस तरह काम करना है. तो आपके रीडर्स, ये भी हो सकता है कि आपने जो चीज़ लिखी वो तीनों किस्म के रीडर्स पढ़ें, या ये भी हो सकता है कि सिर्फ फॉर एग्जाम्पल सिर्फ डिसीजन मेकर्स पढ़ें और डिसीजन लें और आगे ऑर्डर दे दें इम्प्लीमेंटर्स को, और लेकिन आपने जो लिखा है वो उनको ना पढ़ाया जाए क्योंकि उसकी ज़रूरत ना हो. तो इसलिए कोई भी सिनारियो हो सकता है. Now, no matter who your readers are, whether they are decision makers, advisors or implementers, you will have to keep in mind their familiarity with your topic, because you're the one who's writing, but you need to keep in mind how familiar are they with what you're writing about, what is the topic. And this will determine the amount of background information that you need to give. Obviously, if your readers are not very familiar with your topic, then you need to give more background information to make your topic more understandable, more comprehensible to your readers. अगर उनको बिल्कुल कुछ नहीं पता आपके टॉपिक के बारे में तो जाहिर है आपको ज़रा ज़्यादा तफसील से इनिशियली उनको एक्सप्लेन करना पड़ेगा कि आप किस चीज़ के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं, बरक्स इसके कि आपके रीडर्स को खासी फेमिलियरिटी है, वो खासे एक्सपर्ट हैं उस टॉपिक में, तो फिर आपको उसकी इतनी बैकग्राउंड इन्फॉर्मेशन देने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. Also, people who are unfamiliar with your topic will also need to be told or will also need to be made to understand how the topic relates to them. They need to be convinced that this information is actually of their use. बहुत बार ये हो सकता है कि जो आप लिख रहे हो जिस चीज़ के बारे में उससे रीडर्स फेमिलियर नहीं है, और जब वो आप जो लिखे हैं वो उसको शुरू में ही पढ़ते हुए सोचें हम क्यों पढ़ रहे हैं, हमें इसकी क्या ज़रूरत है। तो इसलिए ये भी ज़रूरी है कि जो आपकी राइटिंग हो उसमें अगर आपको पता है कि आपके रीडर्स उस राइटिंग से या उस टॉपिक से अनफेमिलियर हैं, तो फिर आप ये क्लियर करें शुरू में ही कि ये उनके लिए पढ़ना ज़रूरी क्यों है। Most people have preferences concerning the style of communication they read. To a certain extent, the people's communication preferences are shaped by the customary practices in the organization that employ them. Now, for every communication, there are different styles, and a lot of the times people have their preferences about which style they want to read. वो इसलिए हो सकता है कि उनकी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में फॉर एग्जांपल एक सर्टन स्टाइल राइटिंग का अडॉप्ट किया जाता हो ज़्यादा, या ये हो सकता है कि उनने एक ही स्टाइल ज़्यादा देखा है इसलिए वो उससे ज़्यादा फेमिलियर हैं। And information styles may vary from the simple prose writing to illustration with tables, graphs and charts, etc. Now, if somebody is more comfortable with prose writing, they might not be very comfortable with reading information from a graph, and vice versa. So, those different styles should also be kept in mind. You need to know who your reader is and what type of style is that reader comfortable with, or what type of style is that reader expecting to see in the writing, and that will also determine how you write. And for every reader there are some special factors. Each reader is unique, so you should be on the outlook for special reader characteristics you would not normally need to consider. For example, you might be facing an individual who detests certain words, insists on phrasing certain statements, etc. Maybe your colleague or boss or junior, whoever you're writing for, you might know that this person might not have a liking for certain types of words or certain phrases, or that you might know that this person gets irritated by the use of certain words. So if you want to make your writing impressive, or if you want your writing to have an impact, a favorable impact, then you should avoid that language that is irritating to your reader. Sometimes you will also need to consider the setting in which your reader will be reading. That is also important. Who is your reader and where is your reader placed? The setting is also important. Not necessarily at the time when he's physically reading, but is the reader a part of your organization? Is the reader part of your social setting, etc. You also need to consolidate information about the readers. Obviously, all the different information you have, who your readers are, what is their setting, what are their preferences, likes and dislikes, all these things will not be kept in isolation. You cannot have them in separate compartments. You will need to consolidate them, bring them together so that your writing becomes more effective. So you should keep all this information as key points about your reader, and remember that you should view the key points not merely as a list of facts, but as a dynamic resource you can use to guide you as you perform the rest of your writing tasks. Don't just use the information that you have, the key factors that you have about your reader, don't just use them as facts that you have. Use them to change the way you write, use them to adopt your writing to their needs, and to adapt your writing where need be. Now, you also need to learn who all your readers will be. A lot of the times your readers could be phantom readers or future readers. Two types of readers that we will be looking at, phantom, future. Phantom readers are those where the readers may be hidden from you. You may have addressed your written communication to one person or one type of reader, one set of people, but it may be read by other people, and you do not know that these people are going to be reading your communication as well. For example, you may have written your communication for decision makers in your company, but those decision makers then pass on your material to advisors, and you do not know when you're writing that your material is also going to be read by advisors. So in this case, these real but unnamed readers are called phantom readers. You know that they might be there, but you don't really know who they are. You only know that your communication has gone to your decision makers, and You don't know exactly who they are being passed on to, but there's a chance that they might be passed on to phantom readers. Future readers are those where your communication may be, by whom your communication may be read not necessarily immediately, but after some time. So while identifying your readers, you should keep in mind the possibility that your communication may be used weeks, months, or even years from now. Not all communication is read immediately or read immediately and discarded. A lot of the times it's read immediately, but also read again and again in the future. So you need to keep both these type of readers in mind, phantom readers and future readers. Obviously, you are keeping immediate readers in mind, though that is what we had been talking about up till now. But in addition to those, you need to keep in mind phantom readers and future readers also. Now, let's have a look at a worksheet. What will you be keeping in mind when you're defining your objectives? This is something that's an outline, it's a grid that will help you define your objectives. You need to look at overall purpose of your writing. What are you writing? What prompts you to write? And what outcomes you desire. You also need to look at the reader profile. Who is the primary reader? What is the reader's relationship to you, the writer? What is your reader's job title and responsibilities? And who else might read your communication? This is where we talked about phantom readers and future readers. Also, how familiar is your reader with your communication, the topic about which you are writing? How familiar is the reader with your speciality? If you're an expert, is he also an expert or not? And does your reader have communication preferences? Is there a certain style that your reader would like to read? Also, you need to keep in mind the information needs of the reader. What are the key questions your reader is likely to ask while reading? And also, how will your reader search for an answer? Will the reader be reading sequentially from beginning to end? Will he or she start reading your proposal, outline, report, memo, etc., whatever it is? Will they start reading it from the beginning and then read it all the way to the end? Or will they do selective reading? Only look for key items or any others. If there are any others, you need to identify for yourself what others they will be. So think of the next of a task that you will be writing and keep all these points in mind. Have a look at this worksheet, keep this worksheet in front of you and try to fill out answers to all these questions, and that will help your writing become a lot more concrete, a lot better. You also need to determine how the information you provide will affect your reader. Also, you need to determine how the information you've provided, how that will affect the whole organization, and that will determine how you write. Or will your reader be following instructions step by step? All these are things that you need to think of when you're thinking of how the reader will use the information. If there are any other points that you feel, any other ways in which you feel your reader will use the information, list those in your worksheet when you're making your profile. You also need to think about reader attitude, as we talked about earlier. And on your worksheet, you need to fill out what your reader attitude is towards your subject and their attitude towards you. Now, let's suppose that you need to write something and you need to fill out this worksheet that we talked about before you write to define your objectives. For the first question that you will answer is, what are you writing? For example, you're writing a proposal that your software company Adamsoft should assign the international projects to most reliable engineers. What prompts you to write? You probably feel that this way, by assigning international projects to reliable engineers, you would complete foreign projects promptly and build the company's credibility. Then you need to think of what outcome you desire. The outcome in this case would be that you would like the new method to be put into effect as soon as possible, what you have proposed. Now, coming to the reader profile part of your questionnaire, what would be your primary reader? In this case, maybe your primary reader is, for example, somebody called Ms. Zara Said. What is the relationship of the reader to you? The relationship could be that you see each other daily, but you still have a formal relationship. You're colleagues, but your relationship is still formal. What is your reader's job title and responsibilities? The reader Ms. Zara Said is the head of the project assignment committee for your company, Adamsoft. Who else might read your communication? Mr. Umar Hafiz, Mr. Khwaja Osman, both of these people could read your communication since they are Ms. Zara Said's chief assistants. And you need to know in your mind that though your communication is addressed to Ms. Zara Said, it might be read by these readers as well. Now, how familiar is your reader with your communication? She is the head of the present system of assigning. She has used the current system for 3 years, and she doesn't know that you are making an alternative presentation, or that you are proposing an alternative. How familiar is the reader with your specialty? She's very familiar with it because she has been assigning engineers for the past 3 years, so she's very familiar with the way engineers would be assigned to international projects. Then you need to consider, does your reader have communication preferences? Yes, your reader probably has communication preferences. In this case, Ms. Zara Said prefers all communication to be business-like, so that's the style that she requires. Now, coming to reader information needs, what are the key questions your reader is likely to ask while reading? What makes you think that something is wrong with the present system? This is something your reader could ask. Also, they could ask, what will be the criteria for selecting the appropriate engineer for a particular project? Now, that's obviously a very key question, and that is when you're saying hire good engineers, your reader is obviously going to ask, what is the criteria? What is a good engineer? They could also ask, how exactly will the new system work? Or they would want to know, what would I have to do differently? If your reader has been doing something in a particular way, they might, while reading, they might consider, okay, based on this proposal, what do I change? Also, you need to consider, how will your reader search for answers? Will they be reading sequentially from beginning till end? In this case, probably yes. Also, will they be doing selective reading, only reading part of it, part of what you've written? And in this case, Ms. Zara Said will probably be doing selective reading as well. She would probably first skip through your proposal, just look at key parts, and then read it from front till back, then do the sequential reading. So there could be a combination of both. Now, you also need to consider, as we talked about earlier, how your reader will provide the information you've provided. Will they compare only point by point? In this case, yes. Ms. Zara Said will obviously be comparing your proposed system with the present system and looking at key points of comparison as well, things like cost, efficiency, etc. Will your reader attempt to determine how the information you provide will affect him or her? Yes, of course. Ms. Zara Said will want to determine what information you've provided, the proposal you've given, how will that affect her, how will it affect her current policy and her future practice. Will she want to determine how the information you provide will affect the organization? Of course, she will want to examine what difference it will make in terms of efficiency and maybe even cost. Will she follow instructions step by step? Yes, it could be that you've given some recommendations and she could follow them step by step. If there are any other questions that you feel you should try to answer those as well. Reader's attitude. What is the reader's attitude towards your subject? Ms. Zara Said, in this case, let's assume, is not in favor of the new system because she thinks that it will create competition among the new employers. She is very happy with the present system. She probably does not want to change. So the attitude towards your proposal is not going to be favorable. What about the attitude towards you? In this case, she probably thinks of you as a novice. Let's assume that she thinks of you as a novice. So in this case, then your writing needs to be much more effective in order to persuade her, because her attitude towards your subject is not favorable in terms of wanting to create change, and her attitude towards you is also not favorable in the sense that she does not think of you as an expert in this topic. तो जहाँ आपको ये लग रहा है कि जो सब्जेक्ट मैटर है आपका, उसके बारे में भी आपके पढ़ने वाले का एटीट्यूड बहुत पॉजिटिव नहीं है, क्योंकि उनको लग रहा है कि ये जो आप रिकमेंडेशंस दे रहे हैं, ये जो आप मशवरे दे रहे हैं, इससे कॉम्प्लिकेशंस ही होंगी, और आपको ये भी पता है कि वो आपको बहुत ज़्यादा गिनती में नहीं लाते, क्योंकि आप जूनियर हैं, आपको वो एक न्यू कमर समझती हैं या नॉविस समझती हैं, तो इसलिए आपको ज़्यादा एफर्ट करना पड़ेगा अपना पॉइंट क्रॉस कराने के लिए, अपनी बात को मनवाने के लिए. So let's quickly have a look at all we talked about in terms of defining objectives. There are guidelines that you need to use in defining objectives, how to enable your readers to perform their tasks better, etc. You need to identify readers by their role type. whether they are decision makers, advisors, or implementers, and you need to identify the readers by what type of readers they are. Are they phantom readers or future readers? Now, when we talk of appropriateness, we need to make our documents appropriate to our goals in writing it, appropriate to our audience's purpose in reading it, and to the specific institutional contexts in which the document is written and read. Because a reader's knowledge or experience determines the level of comprehension of technical material, appropriateness is largely determined by your audience. अब जाहिर है जो एक रीडर की नॉलेज है, जो उसको पता है, वो उसी के मुताबिक जो पढ़ रहा है उसको समझेगा. इसलिए बहुत ज़रूरी है कि आप अपने पढ़ने वाले की लेवल ऑफ नॉलेज से फेमिलियर हों, पढ़ने वाले से फेमिलियर हों कि आपका ऑडियंस कौन है. तभी आप जो लिख रहे हैं वो उस ऑडियंस के लिए मौजू हो सकता है. और अप्रोप्रिएटनेस यही जो फैक्टर है, कोई चीज़ अपने ऑडियंस के लिए मौजू होने का, इसी को हम अप्रोप्रिएटनेस का नाम देते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, a fact expressed in a mathematical equation may not be effective in a report addressed to a managerial audience. कोई एक चीज़ है, एक इक्वेशन के तौर पे लिखी हुई है, वो ज़रूरी नहीं कि अगर आपकी ऑडियंस मैनेजर्स की है तो वो उन मैनेजर्स को समझ आए. वो इक्वेशन के तौर पे उस चीज़ को लिखना मैनेजर्स के लिए अप्रोप्रिएट नहीं होगा. All technical writing should also be appropriate to the specific institutional context that motivated its creation. It should not only serve the writers and the readers' purposes, but also conform to the goals and conventions of the institution in which it exists. Now, obviously, every institution, every organization has a context and it has its own culture, so all writing should be appropriate to that context and that culture. Institutional goals and conventions are sometimes clear and explicit, other times not. For example, in large companies, the specific goals of various documents as well as the preferred form and style are often described in company correspondence and style manuals. बहुत सी कंपनीज में ये होता है, बहुत से इंस्टीट्यूशंस में, कॉलेजेस, यूनिवर्सिटीज़ में ये होता है कि उनकी स्टाइल मैनुअल्स होती हैं जिसमें पता होता है कि आपकी सब कॉरेस्पॉन्डेंस या कम्युनिकेशन जो है वो इस स्टाइल से होगी. Although the context then is not always clearly marked, it can always be worked out. ज़रूरी नहीं है कि जो स्टाइल मैनुअल हो वो हर बार कॉन्टेक्स्ट ही बताए, लेकिन आप उसको समझ सकते हैं. Class work should be done within the context of goals of the class as well as the specific assignment, for example. Research reports, for example, should conform to the general goals and specific conventions of the scientific or technical community in which they are created. Then there are style guides, which are widely used in the profession and in organizations to achieve a uniform document look by identifying formal requirements for document appearance. These style guides are task-oriented documents in the sense that they provide definite instruction for preparing a document. In style guides, instructions are generally provided for numerous document elements, including page formats. You're told how to write the title page, what kind of sample pages you will have, how you will put the headers and footers, etc. Numbering systems, how you will number pages, graphs, systems, tables, etc. Headings and subheadings, how those will appear in a document. All graphic elements, usage, grammar, usage, etc. Punctuation and mechanisms, and document packaging, how a complete document will look. All these things are dictated in style guides for a particular context or a particular institution. A letter which has been written in order to request changing something that was bought from a shop, and let's see if this is appropriate, if the style is appropriate or not. My Abba Jan was in an accident last year and he hasn't been able to work full time, so we don't have as much money to spend as we used to. But my Ammi ji works as a lady health visitor with the health department, so we aren't destitute by any means. And soon my Abba Jan will be going back full time. My family has shopped at your store since I was a kid. It was smaller then and it was located on the corner of Main Market. My Abba Jan bought me my first school bag there when I was 6. I still remember the day. He paid cash for it. We always pay cash. I have 5 brothers and sisters and they need plenty of things. The cassette player that I bought for my sister Suraya for Eid has been a problem. We've taken it in for repairs 3 times in 3 months to the authorized service center, and my sister is very careful with the machine and hasn't abused it. She likes classical music. It still doesn't work right, and I'm tired of hauling it back and forth because I work at the cafeteria after school and don't have a lot of spare time. I paid cash for the tape player. This is the first time I've returned anything to your store, and I hope you'll agree that I deserve a better deal. Now, is this really an appropriate way in which to write a letter or a note to a store saying that you want to return a purchase? Have a think about it. How would you write if you needed to return something? How would you communicate the fact that something you have bought is faulty and needs to be repaired? Would you include all this information? Would you share so much detail about your family with the reader or not? For many documents, it is a good idea to identify a standard of style so that you achieve a consistency of style. Consistency is important when you're writing, not only because it genuinely improves the reader's ability to understand your material, but also because it gives the reader confidence in your ability to assert control over detail. You need to be consistent, you need to keep to the same style within your writing. So basically in this lecture, you learned to identify the tasks that will help your reader perform better while they read. You learned to tell how you can change your reader's attitudes and what attitudes you want to change. You also learned about your reader's important characteristics. You learned who all your readers will be. You also learned how to fill out a sample worksheet that should be kept in mind when defining objectives, and the importance of appropriateness in business and technical communication. So until next time, Allah Hafiz.